Let's go through the included accessories of the Singer Fashion Mate 3342 sewing machine. So when it comes in this pouch, but let me show you before I go through them where you can actually store them. If you take off the front cover, there's a little storage area compartment behind it that you can drop all the feet in and they'll just all stay in one place. If you ever take your machine with you or to a new room to sew in, they're going to be right there at your fingertips. Then they don't get separated from the machine. So that's when I'm done, that's where I'm going to put all the different feet, extra bobbins and things. So let's just go through these in no particular order. One of the things, let's just kind of talk about some of the feet that come with the machine. So your standard foot, the one that you'll use most of the time is already on the machine. And so we have a total of 5 feet. This one here is got a letter I on it. This is a zipper foot. So it can actually be attached to on the left side or the right side, depending on what side of the zipper you're actually working with. This is a buttonhole foot. So when we do our buttonholes, we'll actually be sliding this little lever in the back part. We'll put our button right there, and then we'll snug it up, and it'll know exactly how long to make the buttonhole. So it's brilliant. If you need one buttonhole, or do you need 100 buttonholes, they're going to be one right after the other, the same length. Of course, after you sew your buttonholes, you're probably going to need to sew your feet or your buttons on. This foot has those little grippers so it can sit on the button, and then you set for a zigzag and stitch back and forth. Wonderful foot there. This is a foot with a built-in seam guide. So if you are looking to get a 5/8 seam allowance from the center needle position to that edge of the fabric, you can set that to any option along that part, and it will keep you guided. If you're learning to sew straight or you're helping a youngster sew straight, this is probably the foot to put on and skip the regular foot. This is an excellent piece to have with this machine. Okay, accessory feet, bobbins. There's a total of 4 bobbins that come with this machine. There's 3 in the bag, and there's actually 1 in the machine when it came out of the box. These are the easiest bobbins to find. They are a plastic class 15 bobbin. So that's what you're looking for. There is a class 15 metal bobbin. Don't mix and match those. This machine is set up for the lighter weight. It doesn't matter that it's plastic. All it's doing is holding the thread. When we wind our bobbin, we'll wind it up here, and then that goes down below when we're done. I'm a fan of about 10 to 20 bobbins. So definitely next time you order some needles, throw in a pack or 2 of bobbins. Trust me, you're going to need those eventually. Now, when we talk about thread and how it goes on the machine, you've got different ways that the machine can actually hold the thread. We've got the horizontal spool pin right up here, and we also have a vertical spool pin. I'll be talking about the differences between these 2 different ones. There's even like a little felt pad that you can put down. This would sit here, and then this goes on the top of the machine right back here. So the spool actually spins if it's on the vertical spool holder, so it actually spins like this. But if you're putting it on the horizontal spool pin, you have 2 spool caps that come with this machine, and we'll be placing them. If it's a bigger spool like this, we'll be using the larger spool cap. And if you've got a smaller, narrower end to your thread, then we're going to be using the smaller spool cap. You just have to make sure you push that all the way on. You don't want a gap between the spool cap and the spool. So just keep those close by and do put them on. They hold them in place, but we don't need spool caps if we're doing that vertical spool pin. Just easy to remember there. Let's talk needles. Needles, I know there's just a little tiny pack of needles that come with this machine. They'll get you started, but you do want to have needles with you. You are going to change needles more than you think. Whenever you have trouble with a sewing machine, most of the time, if people would just put a new needle in, it will solve the problem. There's small needles for finer fabrics. There's bigger needles for thicker fabrics like denim and canvas and upholstery fabric, but you have to have the right needle for the type of fabric you're sewing on. So keep that in mind. Needles, you can buy any home sewing machine brand of needles. You don't have to buy Singer needles, but we do have links below this YouTube video that can hook you up with any of these purchases like extra feet, bobbins, or needles. We're going to talk about cleaning your machine. You're going to get a small little brush with the machine, and we need to brush it out, not blow it in. So you're not going to use your breath to blow it in, and we definitely don't want to use canned air. That's a no-no with sewing machines. We need to remove it, bring it out, not in. Sewing machines, once again, if they're not cleaned, they don't run well at all. Trust me. First thing to do is change a needle, clean the machine. And then there's also, on the other end of this, a seam ripper. So take it out and use the top as a handle, and that will help extend the holding of it, so it makes it easier to take out seams. Always with every sewing machine. I love it. All right, this is an additional seam guide. So even though we had a foot with a kind of a built-on board seam guide, this would actually help you go even further. We'll show you how to attach this to the back of the foot and where you would be using this as well. There are two last things. We have a cover for the feed dogs. So on this machine, the feed dogs don't actually lower, but they're covered up. So this plate or cover sits right into these two little holes that are on the throat plate, and then cover up so those teeth don't pull your fabric through. So you might use that for free motion quilting or anytime you don't want your fabric moving through the machine. Last is a simple screwdriver. Doesn't look like a screwdriver, but it's the perfect one because it's short. We'll be taking these two screws out for cleaning. We'll be loosening our needle for taking our needles in and out. And we'll also be loosening up the ankle of this foot for any accessory feet, like a free motion quilting foot, if we were to buy that and attach it. So this is your awesome short and yet perfect screwdriver for all those uses. So let's get into all the stitches and techniques that you can do with all 32 of these stitches.